a very warm welcome from my side. I hope you stay with me for 25 minutes. You have a lot of energy and passion. I like to engage you a little bit again and just do not read the slides. But my first question would be, how many of you have experience with Tableau or any kind of visualization? Some of you, that's really cool. So what I brought you today is, and let's see if technique works and everything works. Let's just one more second and I need internet and the click. Oh yeah, thank you very much. I brought you real tableaus from my company, so I'm going to show you some real examples how it could look like for a company like mine, the Gore company. But first of all, I want to give you a short introduction how we did it. And before I start with this, okay, this is obviously not working. Now it's working, fantastic. Is my first question to you, why is analytics a challenge for management or managers? So I think all of us tend to think that what we do in a daily life is really easy and simple, and because we do it on a daily basis, right? So, but if you step back, you have to admit that what we do is complex. And complexity creates fear. An aggregation of several data sources is complex. Just think about if you want to compare Searchmetrics data with Adobe data or Google data. It's complex. Data visualization itself, building dashboards, is not an easy task. If you do it the first time, maybe not so easy. But the biggest question for me always is, fair enough that I have some dashboards, but how do I create action? How do I drive change in my company? That's the most important thing. So I just want to show you here. So this is something that you for sure know. This is Google Analytics, right? So if I would ask you, and this is a real example, this is some of our domains. What's your takeaway when you see this? What's the action for that? I don't know. Okay, same goes with Excel reports. You may also know that. What's the appropriate action to that? Nobody knows. So this is just what you get if you do a lot of analytics. You have a lot of dashboards, you have a lot of insights, but basically you ask yourself, what should I do with it? Okay, now let me just say this. This is not a Tableau sales presentation. I'm not a Tableau sales guy, so you could, of course, use Domo or any other solution. So I'm just taking Tableau because I used it. So why Tableau? Why should we do this at all? It is a lot easier if you have one interface for analytics, web, BI, retail, and you can aggregate data. I think all of us agree. If you think about how many login details you have every day for Searchmetrics, Google Analytics, Adobe maybe, Salesforce eventually, so you see you have a lot of login data. That's complicated. Tableau allows us to aggregate data really easily. That's nice. And of course, you can visualize and you can change data like you need it, because I think I'm a strong believer that there's no one-fits-all solution for B2C, B2B, different companies. So you need a custom-made solution. Jumping to the next step. So what's the problem with my company 1 year ago? So I don't know how many of you work in an enterprise context, but this was our situation. No global success tracking, basically for the US, for Europe, and for Asia Pacific. We all had the same let's say, data silos, and we could not merge. So basically, if I were asking my colleagues in Japan, okay, you had a search campaign running, can you tell me how it went? So they all said, yeah, you know, but it's difficult. Yeah, we can't come up with a report. And then they sent me some numbers, and I couldn't compare it to Korea, or I couldn't compare it to Norway or Italy. So I was completely lost. So yes, we had data 1 year ago, but no clue what to do with it. So let me take you on the journey how we changed this. So what could be the solution? The solution, of course, is global aggregated information and trends. And I guess you all agree with that. That's really cool if you work in a global company and a global commitment like me. That's okay. So there are three major things. It should be simple because all of us need data analytics daily, always fresh data. Yes, it should be transparent. You should have data access, like the agencies you work with, me, the associate, everybody in the company. Yes, and it should be fit for use because I know that only few of employees, really few can handle raw data or data at all, so they do not like it, and predefined dashboards are most of the time, if they customized, a good solution. Okay, fair enough. So again, how do I drive change now? Let's give it a try, we thought, okay, and asked ourselves, what's the goal of any campaign out in the market? And I would say on the left-hand side, you have the brand, meaning engagement. People should do something with the brand. They should talk, like, write emails, customer service and stuff. And on the other hand, you have performance, you have sales. So meaning reports should, of course, report on both sides, on brand and on sales. So this is not so easy, as you know. So if you're a B2B player, obviously the sales are not easily reported, and brand engagement, okay, you can do it with some external help, but still, like market research, but still it's a challenge. So first question was, what are metrics for those dashboards? Metrics we already measure. Important metrics, sell-through date, performance, sales, and also metrics we do not yet measure, like brand performance, channel performance. All of that really nice. I guess you say, okay. And so this is now the draft. Me and a colleague sat together 1 year ago in a room, and so this is how we did it, how this dashboard should look like. On the left-hand side, you have the brand. You do not have to read that. A lot of thing, performance on the right-hand side. Hey, that really looks awesome, does it? Okay, let's build a Tableau. And so we did. That's it. By the way, dummy data. Great, right? No, fail. Complete fail. And this is the same what you saw before, right? So it's nice, yeah, because we aggregated data, but in the end, it's like Google Analytics. So no, that's not the right way to do it. Okay, so we had to start again. But mistakes grow your brain. And the next step was to say, okay, we have to change something basically to come up with better Tableau dashboards. And so we changed the complete tracking setup. So this is what I can just, if you want to start from the scratch with Tableau, check the tracking and do a tracking audit, create a single point of truth. With us, it was Adobe Analytics, so of course Google is fair as well. But it's a single point of truth for us. You have to have a global setup because you should not be stuck in countries. The same for Google. I like, by the way, always to have two kind of tracking systems to compare data, but that's, of course, a question. And, of course, you should have a tag manager. So this is like the basic setup. You can work with a data layer because a data layer is a rule-based setup, and it makes things a lot easier. And if you have that, you have to reduce complexity. In our case, we had a lot of domains and a lot of complexity. So there's something wrong? No? So we killed basically all domains we had and moved everything to one domain. That's easy. And if you have this, we talked a lot about relaunches and technical infrastructure today. So this is our solution. Everything goes on Drupal in every country. We use the Adobe Tag Manager in every country: China, Japan, Italy, Norway, US, Germany. And all of that data goes directly into Google and into Adobe. So this is the first step to clean everything up, that you know, okay, what's going on first-party data-wise in all of the countries. Basic step, again. So this is the data layer itself. So if you ask yourself, I guess all of you know what a tag management is. You have, of course, the Google Tag Manager, the Adobe Tag Manager, and several other solutions like Telium and so on. But all of those tag managers basically have one beautiful upside, that they do all the time the same thing. And if they are implemented, they are really helpful. If you want to release any kind of tags in any country, you can do it really easily. And together with the data layer, which is basically just a rule set, this is why I copied you this, you have a beautiful setup that is really stable, and you can publish tags really easily and in a smart way. So it's basically a rule-based setup. Tag management is a good thing, especially if you want to do testing, what you can see here. What you need next, obviously, and this is our solution I brought to you today, is global campaign tracking. So if you have several countries that you have to take care for, or if it's just Germany, I just can recommend you to use such a Google Sheet. It's super easy, and you can share it with the agencies and with your colleagues, and everybody creates the same campaign tracking codes. So that makes things rather easy. And of course, the nice thing is you can control it and know exactly who is using which campaign tracking codes. So the dashboard setup basically is super simple then. You have different data sources with APIs, obviously, and those are Tableau extract servers. I will talk about this a little bit later. There's a really nice way to set up Tableau, and then you create some dashboards. So that is basically it, visually. I want to talk a little bit more about Searchmetrics. So our setup for Searchmetrics, obviously, as you know, consists of a research part and a project part. So Searchmetrics is very important to us because it was basically the first additional data source beside Adobe, Salesforce, and Google that we used because it provides you a lot of domain-based data. And our countries all have one domain, so that makes it really easy for us to set up projects. So what we did, we started very small with Searchmetrics, I guess more than 2.5 years ago, just in Germany. And then we expanded globally. So in the meantime, with Searchmetrics, we are tracking more than 35 domains, nearly 10,000 keywords, growing in more than 8 languages. It's inclusive Chinese, Russian, Korean, Japanese, all kind of related keywords. And the nice thing is on a domain level, meaning we can import it really easily and connect it to a country performance. And if you ask me what is now the main purpose of this, it is altogether the domain performance, social, paid, content, and of course also SEA. That makes a lot of sense for us, especially when it comes to comparison with competition. Now, how to drive action with Searchmetrics? That's something that I added here as well because I think it's very important not just to have the data, but to do something with it. So what we did and how we drive action is we build keyword cluster with tags, like for brand, generic, and SEA opportunity. You could say this is really very basic, and yes, it is. We will come up with more tags in the future. But if you think about it, we have a keyword set with more than 10,000 keywords. That's already quite a lot. So we define keyword set for each folder, homepage, product, and blog, for each language, of course. And now we start the global approach for optimization. And here, I have a special start and evolve approach. So we are taking very small keyword sets. We say, for example, let's take the blog keyword cluster for generic for the US, and then we start optimizing with single text. So meaning we do not have a real huge master plan. We like to start and then evolve. Because I always learned that it's no good to have a very complex level of engagement, but really start. And this is how it looks then. Here you have already a sneak peek of how our SEO dashboard in Tableau looks like. So basically the nice thing is we can apply it to the rest of the Tableau structure when it comes to YouTube, SEA, programmatic buying, and we can merge this information in every kind of dashboard. So also in our management dashboards, Searchmetrics is implemented. So you can see basically we have at the expert level, like what I talked before about, and then we have, of course, the management level, and both applies very well with Tableau. So, but coming back, now, okay, if you ask me, okay, I want to set up this, how can I do it? It's basically very simple. I would think how we did it. We started a test drive with a service provider here in Germany. So we asked him to buy a license in our name because, as you know, enterprise, very hard to buy some license for yourself. IT-based projects, not so easy. So a test drive with a service provider is really nice. You have your own Tableau setup then, really easy and smart. And then, of course, you can host the server on AWS and you can scale ad ultimo, which is really nice. So very, very easy to set up. It took us just a month, and then we were really good to go. So our solution is one desktop versions with 10 accounts. It's relatively cheap, so I just can recommend that. And then you have two options, basically. Either you have a MySQL database, or you work with the extract databases from Tableau. This is really nice, so you do not even have to set up a database. And again, I'm not a Tableau sales guy, but still I like it because it is so easy. So the learnings, how to drive change. And for me, driving change means that you enable people to drive action. So some learnings. The preparation of data sources takes a lot of time. And here especially you have the structured data versus the unstructured data. So if you stay in all kind of web analytics, it's most of the time pretty easy. But as soon as you go into the field of retail, for instance, or retailer data, brand partner data, it gets a lot more messy. So this is all our second party data. So we really work hard to get this into our Hadoop cluster and process the data. First learning. Second learning, define metrics and KPIs in alignment with the business. This was what I showed you before. So if you just build tableaus, this may not be enough. Organize the interpretation of the data, very important. So again, if you have just dashboards, that's not enough. You have to have a weekly meeting, a daily meeting to interpret the data, and again, to understand together with the team what it really means. And my last learning, very, very important, the split between operational dashboards and research dashboards. As all of us know, sometimes you need data to research because you want to understand topics like how many rankings do I have, how much traffic do I have. But on the other hand side, you need really operational dashboards, meaning, hey, you blocked the robots.txt, you have to do something. Do something right now. Alert dashboards. So this is what I took away. So summary, how do I drive change via analytics? I just came up here with a flow chart because for me it's all about the process itself. First of all, you have a problem statement. If you have the problem statement of your business unit, of your company, then you need the data sources. And here you really have to define how many data sources you want to take and with how many data sources you want to start. So I suggest not with too many data sources. Then you drive an audit. I just said this in the beginning, that this is very important, like how many domains do you have? Analytics, tracking codes, is everything in place? If you say yes, it is, then you could define the metrics. This may sound a little bit interesting to you, because normally you define first the metrics and then the data sources. I would turn it around for good reason, because as said, if you define metrics, do not have the data sources, you're trapped. If you have metrics, you can define few KPIs. This is why they're called KPIs. And then you can build the setup and build the dashboard. In the end, that's not enough. Everybody knows. Optimization is the word. I guess with us, one Tableau dashboard lasts about 3 to 4 months, and then we have new ones. So meaning, as you saw already, I'm already preparing the next dashboards and the next dashboards. So we iterate a lot when it comes to analytics visualization. That's from my side. Thanks a lot for your attention.